Hi everyone, it has been a little while. I've actually been under the weather, dealing with some health flare-up stuff that oh, my hair clip just broke. Perfect. Okay, got new clips. We're off to a great start. I was just gonna say, I've been dealing with some stuff. I've been under the weather, and when I get these flare-ups, all I can do is rest. That's like the only thing I can do to slow down. So yeah, but I'm feeling much better. We're back in action. There's been a lot of new releases. Got a big box in front of me. So I have a couple of new releases from Milk Makeup. Their new like foamy cloud primer, their new lip oil. I also have the new Ciele Sculpt Stick. I have the new Kulfi Brow Gel. I have Gabby's collab with Mob Beauty, and just a bunch of stuff to catch up on. So I think it's going to be mostly a full face of new makeup, except for I think base. I don't know if I have any new base products. Also, the Sephora sale is coming up in the first week of April, so I'm trying to test a lot of things so I can give you up-to-date reviews. You guys know I love to give really comprehensive video reviews around that time. So this is the Kulfi Brow Gel. I've only used it once, but to be honest, I don't feel like I got a very good sense of it. They actually say it's a brow gel and serum that conditions brow hairs while smoothing them into place, and they say it locks in eyebrow hairs for up to 8 hours with firm yet flexible hold. I'm always cautious when brands say when brands say an eyebrow gel is firm yet flexible, because I kind of just want firm. For me, my brows are really stubborn, but I am optimistic about this because when you pull out the wand, it actually is a stiff gel consistency. I don't know if you can see right there. So it's kind of this like stiff, almost like hair gel. So I like to use these kinds of products at the beginning of my routine. I've already run a Q-tip through my brows, so I don't have any skincare in them. And I actually take the brow gel and I run it backwards. I sort of back comb against the natural growth direction of my brow hairs so that I'm really coating the brow. And then I kind of move them into place. Whoa, that's really good hold. Then I move them into place. And that way I'm coating each brow hair from multiple directions, and it's giving more product for the brow hair to hold on to. There is also a little comb, so it's dual-sided. You've got like the spiky comb and then like the bristly comb here. So maybe I will kind of press it down. I'm actually not even using either of the comb sides. I'm holding it flat against my skin. It is very sticky. I can feel it like sticking on the comb itself. It's almost like it changes texture as it's drying down. So it goes from gel to like more sticky and gluey right before it probably sets down. So again, I'm just back combing. What if I just did my brow like that and then combing into place? It's not a super polished look in that it's not laying down every single brow hair. It does give me a slightly fluffier brow look, like a slightly undone brow look, but I'm optimistic about it. It's not like the Benefit 24-hour brow setter where it's just like glued against the skin, but I do like this for a slightly more natural look. So we'll see how it holds up throughout the makeup application. All right, I gotta move this hair out of the way. My hair is so long right now. I'm tempted to do a big chop for summer because I haven't done one in a couple of years. That's just kind of what I do. I chop it and then I grow it out, and then I chop it and grow it out. Anyway, moving on to primer. I have the Milk Makeup Cloud Primer, and this is a very like skintertainment sort of thing. It's the Cloud Glow Priming Foam with Brightening Turmeric. And it is, in fact, a foam. So it's kind of like the dispenser that creates like foam soap. And it is, in fact, foamy and bubbly. And then you rub it into the skin and it becomes wet. And then it sets down. It doesn't contain any like added synthetic fragrance, but there is turmeric in here as well as apricot extract. It just has a slightly botanical smell. And they say it's meant to create cloud skin, so it's meant to hydrate and brighten. It does set down on the skin. It doesn't feel dewy. It doesn't feel sticky or anything like that. I do feel a slight like grippiness on the back of my hand, but I haven't used it on my face yet. And they basically just say you take a pump on the back of your hand and then massage it into the skin with fingertips. The one thing I would advise with a formula like this, any sort of really wet primer or primer in general, is to wait for your SPF to set down fully before you go in with a liquid primer. Because you are using this like as the last step of your skincare and you don't want it to disturb the SPF filters. So they really just say you massage directly into skin with fingertips. So I'm gonna do that. The foam just kind of, yeah, like breaks up into a liquid. It does feel cooling and it's obviously easy to spread. I don't think this is going to fill pores or anything like that, but they do say it's smoothing, which is kind of interesting. And this actually does seem to be going through a slight texture change. Like I can feel it starting to set down and become, again, it's not grippy like Hydro Grip, but it does feel like slightly tacky. Like I mentioned, I don't have a new foundation, so I'm actually just gonna go in with the Glossier foundation in medium 1. I've really been liking this. I just like how adjustable it is in coverage and how natural and skin-like it is. So a lot's happened this week while I have been sick, namely that Kate Middleton is missing, which is just so weird. We live in very weird times. I'm fully in conspiracy land, which at this point doesn't even feel like a conspiracy, so I don't know what's going on, y'all. I'm filming this on Monday, the 18th, and I'm like, they have to say something, right? I don't know. It's so weird. Okay, you know what's weird is I can tell I have primer on. Even though it's a very thin fluid, I wasn't even sure I would feel like I had anything on my skin, but it's holding on to the skin and it's giving me a slightly, I don't know, like a soft satin grip. It's partly why I'm using my fingers because I really wanted to see, especially with a foundation I'm familiar with, I wanted to see what the texture would feel like, and I can tell there's something on my skin kind of gripping on to the foundation. I have literally just a dot more of foundation just to even things out. But yeah, I can tell it's actually not glowy on my skin. It actually feels more like a satin, like a soft satin grip, but it does feel slightly velvety. It's really interesting. If I'm honest, I didn't really have high expectations for this primer because I just thought it would be like fun, but I actually can tell there's a bit of grippiness. I feel like this could be good if you want something in between their mattifying primer and their Hydro Grip primer. It's like in between soft satin, velvety finish. Maybe it'll get glowier throughout the day. It's definitely possible because I do have a combo oily skin type. Just gonna do a little bit of concealer. This is the Haus Labs concealer in the shade 21. Just a little bit around the eyes. I just washed all my brushes, and if I'm honest, I have way too many brushes. I should probably declutter, but I have like hundreds of brushes just because I've been making content for a long time. I've been gifted, I've bought brushes, and I don't like to wash brushes, so I only do it when I absolutely need to, but they're all clean, and I feel so powerful. I hate cleaning brushes, but once it's over, and I only do it like once a month, once it's over, I feel unstoppable. I'm very wowed by this base right now, and I can tell it's the primer because the foundation and concealer are not new to me. I didn't use any new skincare, but my skin just looks so smooth, and it does feel like it is that cloud skin sort of look where it's not glowy, but the skin looks really soft, and it has this like soft satin sheen to it, like a pearly glow. I haven't even powdered, and it kind of looks like I powdered in my T-zone. I probably will still add powder, but I'm gonna do other cheek stuff first. I'm super excited about this launch. Ciele is launching a sculpting stick, and it's a bronzing stick with SPF 30. As you guys know, all of their makeup has SPF in it, and the shade range looks really good, and they also launched a sculpting brush to go with it. So let me just open these up real quick. There are 4 shades of this, and the SPF in their products is always zinc oxide. Super sensitive skin friendly. This is what the stick looks like. And then you twist up. I saw Nikki DeRoos, the founder, teasing this on her stories recently, and I was really excited. So this is the shade 01 Light. And they actually do call it a bronzing contour stick. This is the shade Medium. This feels super creamy. I'm so excited to get these on the skin. So that's 01 Light, 02 Medium, which is what I'll probably use. This is 03 Tan, and that is 05 Deep. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like they could use a deeper shade. Maybe they'll expand the shade range. But I do like the variety of undertones in here. Also, my lights always make things look a little bit lighter, but I like the variety of undertones. There's neutral, golden, slightly more red. And so those are the shades. These actually have a nice like transparency to them. They're creamy, they seem super blendable, and they have a very skin-like feel. So I do feel like you can swipe these directly on your face. That's what I'm gonna do, and the brand says you can do that and blend out with a brush or a sponge or with fingers. And then here is their dual-ended brush. Their brushes are really good. They are all dual-ended. So this one is for powder. You can actually, it specifies right here. So this side is for cream and this side is for powder. So I'm gonna use the shade 02 Medium, and I am gonna swipe directly on the face. I'll just do one side so we can see. You can see how creamy it is. It goes on without any like tugging or anything like that. Maybe we'll do a little lift there. And then I'm gonna use the cream side of the brush. It's slightly pinched and then like tapered. So I'm just gonna kind of blend out generously. It's got a lot of glide. There's no tugging at all. And it's really not taking a lot of work to blend out. I like how forgiving it is. I could tell when I was swatching them that they weren't going to be super, super high pigment, which is nice for everyday wear. I don't like cream bronzers that are overly pigmented. Personally, I just prefer something a little bit more forgiving that is buildable rather than adding a lot of product at once. This is looking like a really neutral undertone, so I'm not worried about it getting orange or anything like that. Whew. Really snatched the jawline there. I never contour my jawline because I'm lazy, but I'm wearing a low-cut shirt today, so I'm not worried about it like getting on my clothes, and that looks really nice. So this is the not sculpted side, and this is the sculpted side. You can see how quick that was to apply. So we'll do the same thing here. I also find that with a more sheer bronzer, you don't have to be too precise. And this is creamy, but it's not greasy, and it doesn't feel like too emollient. It just feels like a nice satin cream finish. I haven't worn makeup like all of the last week because I wasn't feeling well, and I just have to say I feel great. I mean, everything is performing really well, so it's making me feel really good about makeup, but I also haven't had like any foundation on for over a week, and now that I have it on, I'm like, wow, I feel so powerful. I think I am gonna powder, and I am going to use some of the products that Mob Beauty sent over in their collaboration with Gabby. So Gabby, if you guys don't know, Gabby Alvarez, she's a dear friend of mine, and she worked with Mob Beauty to create her own custom lipstick shade. And as part of that collaboration, she put together her own custom face palette. So they sent over all the components for that palette. Let me show you the lipstick real quick. It's so beautiful. This is the shade M144, and this is one of their matte lipsticks, and it's beautiful. It's so creamy, and I love the way Gabby uses it to create like a blurred lip look. When you sheer it out, you get this slightly more pink undertone that comes through, and it has a vibrancy to it. But then you can layer it up for depth as well. It's just such a face brightening shade. And Gabby does wear these kinds of lipsticks all the time. So let me actually compile this palette so I can show you what the whole thing looks like. So this is the palette. It's so cute. And then also this Sparkle Balm in M129, their suspended Sparkle Balm. which looks like this. It's like a clear balm, I think, for this shade. And then they also sent over their mascara, which I really like as well. All right, here are the swatches. The cream blush in M73, highlight balm in M98. It's like a sheer champagne, so pretty. And then I have the eyeshadow in M64, M5, the cake liner in M90, and then the cream clay shadow in M109. Oh, and then let me do the sparkle balm. I forgot about that. Ooh, fun. It's like a silver suspended sparkle right there. Gives you that like glossy topper look. They also sent over their translucent powder, which I've never tried, so I'm actually gonna use a little bit of that in the T-zone. So this is their recyclable cardboard packaging. I don't know if there's like a refill component for this, but it works just fine in the cardboard thing. Like there's holes there for powder. And this is their translucent shade. I'm just gonna take my Cosette S140, pick up a little bit of powder, and then just powder in the T-zone. It's super blurring, actually. Mattifying and blurring. I honestly feel like because of the primer, I only need to powder in the T-zone for now anyway. But like the base looks really smooth, right? One thing I will say is that my eyebrows are falling, like the hairs are falling, they're dropping a little bit. Just something to note, it's not terrible, but it might take me a little bit of time to figure out how best to apply this. So I'm going to take a BK Beauty A503 into this beigey eyeshadow. This shade actually is much more pigmented than it appears to be in the pan. It's just a good matte, warm tan sort of shade to bring a little life to the eyes. I have really been wanting to try this chartreuse shade, so since we're here, we're just gonna go for it. I'm taking my BK Beauty 210, and I'm just going to sweep this across the mobile lid. I am familiar with the cream clay eyeshadow formula, and it's very pigmented, very spreadable, and I've learned that I like to apply this in like a really thin layer. The nice thing about this formula is that you don't lose opacity as you're blending it out, so you don't need to apply a ton to get that color payoff. I'm actually not going to use the Ma Beauty mascara. I'm gonna stop there because I really wanna show you guys the new Buble and Rudy mascara. So I'm sure you guys have seen this around on Instagram. Rudy, who is a dear friend of mine, collabed with Buble for a chocolate, what's it called? The chocolate dripped tubing mascara. It's a brown tubing mascara. And it's so good. I've used it like maybe 1 or 2 times just over the weekend. And it's a tubing mascara that actually holds a curl and creates a wispy, fluttery lash. I'm just so happy about this. I also didn't know that you pronounce Buble. I thought it was Bobble or Bubble, but it's Beauty and Bubble, so it's Buble x Rudy. If you're not familiar with tubing mascaras, the great thing is that they don't smudge, but when they get wet, they come off in little clusters because they form tubes around the lashes. I love the wand on this. I like how it's tapered and it has fluffy bristles, but there's a lot of separation in between the layers of the bristles, if you know what I mean. So it really allows you to comb through the lashes. Now that this is here, I'm like, I want it in black too, because the formula is really good. The thing about tubing mascaras is oftentimes, actually let me get this curl right here. Oftentimes tubing mascaras start out really wet and then they create tubes as they dry down around your lashes. But the thing I like about this is it's almost like it starts out almost like when a mascara tube is already at its prime, when you've had it open a couple of weeks and it's dried out a little bit. I really like that because it just allows for more control. And even though it's a thicker wand at the end of the tube, like closer to the handle, the tip of the tube is really tapered. So you're able to work in that inner corner, which is great for different eye shapes. And because so many tubing mascaras start out really wet, they make your curl drop. Like when your lash is curled, the curl just drops when your eyelashes get too wet. But because this formula is a little bit on the drier side, my curl isn't dropping. It's amazing. And because it's not too wet, you're able to build layers the way you traditionally would with a conventional like non-tubing mascara. So you can see it's this really nice chocolatey brown color. It's a very warm toned brown. It's almost like there's a touch of red in it. And I feel like that really pops rather than like a dusty brown or a cool toned brown. You can tell it has that chocolatey warmth to it. So those are the lashes done. Here's what they look like up close. I love this formula. It's just really easy to use right as you open the tube, and I also want it in black. Let's see about these brows. I'm gonna try to add one more layer and maybe see if it's buildable. Sometimes with brow gels like these, you kind of need to add one layer, let it dry, and then add another layer. So I'm gonna see what that does before I go in with like a pencil or something. I do like that it's sort of malleable. Like, it's not like I can't move it once I've applied one layer. It's not flaking or anything like that. A lot of the brow gels, like laminating brow gels, once it's set, you cannot lift it or else it will flake. This is kind of unique in that way. All right, I'm gonna give that time to set. I mean, I really like the way it looks. I just want it to stay there. We'll see. All right, for lips, I actually have way more lip products than I can try on at once. There's the new Milk Makeup lip oils, and these are true oil formulas. You guys know they have their Odyssey like balm glosses, which I actually really love. These are like much more oily, they're thinner, they have more slip, and it's a really cute variation of shades. They are on the very sheer side, and I'll say that I do prefer the thickness, like the richness of the Odyssey lip gloss balms. But these are cute too, and the fun thing about these is that they each have a different scent and a different flavor. Flavor, I guess. I don't think you need all of the shades, but I will swatch them for you. Just because they are so sheer, there isn't a huge difference on the lips in terms of tint. This is what they look like. They have a chubby doe foot applicator, which you know I love. So for example, these are the swatches. They all look very similar, except maybe the brightest like orange and pink ones. So I would just say pick one with a scent you like, because all of the scents are different and they're more of like, they're hydrating, but they're more of like that entertainment value versus how they're going to look in terms of color impact. My favorite one is actually their guava one. It's like a mauve with a guava scent, and it's the second to last one. I mean, you can't even tell here. The brightest one is this one, the orange one. But again, they're not gonna leave a lot of color on your lips. They're just kind of nice to like prep the lips or hydrate throughout the day, and they do add a bit of shine. And I will say the tone, while not impactful, is more visible over your lips where you have more natural pigment versus on the back of your hand, obviously. So I am going to apply Gabby's lipstick with Mob Beauty because we're here, and I'm really excited about this shade, and I'm going to apply it in sort of a blurred, diffused way. My lips actually feel like nice and hydrated from the lip oil. I might just do a quick blot. And then I'm just going to apply this towards the center of my lips. Just that once, you can see how much pigment there is. And then I'm going to take a small lip brush and just diffuse the edges. And that's the lip. It's just such a brightening shade. Even though swatched it looks like a really intense rose, when you sheer it out, it just enlivens the skin. I don't know. And I also realized I didn't apply blush, which is so weird for me. So I am going to do that before we finish off. I think I will go in with the M73 cream blush in here just because I think it's going to go really nicely with the lip. I am just taking a brush directly into this. And I'm gonna do a light blush look. I don't wanna go overboard. My skin is still looking so smooth. I actually cannot believe it. This is like maybe the best my skin has looked with the Glossier foundation. And that's a foundation I like and I've used a lot in the last couple of months, but it hasn't ever looked this smooth and like this skin-like before. The Mob Beauty blushes are really great because they're not overly emollient. They have a really natural finish. So I think they work really well even if you have oily skin. And then if you want to add more emollients, you can go into their highlight balm and just add a little bit of that gleam on the top of the cheekbone. And that adds that like glossy sheen if you're into that. Okay, that is the finished look. I don't know if it's because I haven't had a full face of makeup on in so long or if it's the makeup itself. I'm sure it's the makeup itself, but I feel great. I feel like I look great. I feel the most alive I've felt in over a week. And the makeup also does look really good. Let me talk about everything real quick. And I also forgot to mention, I do always leave a pinned comment when I'm trying new makeup to let you know how things wore throughout the end of like an 8-hour wear day. I can definitely do that today. So look for that pinned comment below. Some thoughts right now. I have to say, I did not really have high expectations of this primer. I just thought it's more for entertainment, that foam quality, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to keep testing it, but my skin looks really good and it played so well with the Glossier foundation. Like my skin looks smooth, and if it is doing what I think it's doing, I like how weightless it is and how soft my skin looks. Also played really well with the concealer. The Sculpt Stick I'm super into. I'm not surprised at all because I really love Ciele. I love everything they've put out. I think they've added SPF into makeup without compromising the performance of the makeup. And it's just nice to have that added touch of SPF in your makeup. It's not meant to replace your regular sunscreen, but it's a nice touch. I like the shades. The Mob Beauty palette is also not a surprise to me because these formulas are not new to me, but I do really like this pop of green. I think it's super wearable. Like it's not so intense, though if you applied it over a white base, it would be more intense, but it still feels wearable enough for me on like a day-to-day basis. And I knew that the lipstick would be good because I trust Gabby. Gabby did my wedding makeup. She did my elopement makeup and my wedding makeup, and has done my makeup many times. She's a makeup artist. So it's no surprise to me that this is good, but I think what I am surprised by is the versatility of the shade. This would even look really good like as a cream blush. And the mascara, I already know I love. It comes off really easily just with water. I love that I don't need to use a curl holding primer with it, and that it's a buildable tubing mascara. It's very rare to find a buildable formula that's dry enough to build on itself and not drop the curl. Oh, and then of course the Milk Makeup lip oils. They're cute. They're more for adding hydration. They're not going to have a lot of pigment, but I do like the different scents and I think they're fun. This did end up being a Get Ready With Me featuring collabs from my friends, but I'm just so excited for them. I'm so proud of them. And I feel like, you know, this is a very saturated industry. There are so many interesting creative voices out there, and I'm really happy when I get to see my friends who are creative get to put their ideas out there, and I'm just really proud of them. And also the products themselves are very good. While they are my friends, I'm happy to say that they are excellent products. Oh, I did want to mention real quick, I was sent these really cute earrings. They're like enamel hearts. They're gold plated by a brand called Soru. And I just feel like I'm going to be wearing them all summer. They also sent me a bracelet that I'll show you in another video. They have these really gorgeous like chunky pieces that are very in style, like layered necklaces, layered bracelets. I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of that. And it's kind of reminiscent of like the 90s, 80s and 90s to me, but in an updated way. They did give me a discount code. This is not an ad. I just want to share. It's 15% off, I think, with code Becca15. I'll link it below. So that's it for me today. I will report back on how things wore. I have a lot to film. I have a lot of empties that I've gone through, new skincare I'm enjoying, Sephora sales coming up, so I'm picking up a couple of things to review. There's just a lot coming up. I feel like, you know, the beginning of the year is always off to a kind of slow start, and then we head in like full force starting around April. So I'm gearing up for that. I hope you guys are doing well and enjoying maybe warmer weather wherever you are. So thanks for being here. Stay tuned. Lots coming, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.